My name is John Moxie.
And I'm Maria Larrabee Coates. And this is the South Bristol Scoop. The Madomic Valley High School advisors came to SBS to watch a live taping of the South Bristol Scoop. We had an interview with them afterwards. Let's see what they had to say. Hello, I'm here from the South Bristol Scoop with Miss Swain.
Yep, hello.
And Miss Holland.
Hello.
From Madomic High School. And I have a couple questions for you too. Why did you come to watch the LCTV Scoop?
Well, you guys do a fabulous job, and we are introducing a media literacy course next year, and we wanted to see how your production goes, what you do, how you work it, and basically show you up to our students so they can live up to your standards.
Yeah. Anything more to add to that?
I've been quite impressed with what we've seen so far, and just being and observe you guys, I've learned a lot, and I am quite. You are in 5th grade, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, and there's some 6th graders here, and I just think the work that you're putting out is amazing.
What classes do you teach?
I teach English. I do freshmen, juniors, and seniors, and we do multiple different ones. Regular, general education. Then I do some I do business English or interpersonal communication, film and lit. So there's a bunch of different things that we do. It keeps it interesting, but it's going to be really good. I think the background's going to help in pulling the show together for us. Yeah.
I'm an art teacher, and so I teach at the high school photography, both digital and black and white, and also intro to film, and I teach different levels of that. And the intro to film class would be more art related as opposed media related, but we'll be dipping our toes into that next year.
And did you like the show today?
Oh, excellent. It was absolutely excellent. Like I said, we can't stress it enough.
I took
you guys
so
did
many
a great
notes.
job. Yes. I actually have a few myself. But yeah, we have I think our class in the development, we have a lot to live up to, and we do appreciate, I know I do, definitely the opportunity to be here. So thank you for having us.
Yes. On Friday morning, May 9th, we were at Lincoln Hospital with the hospital president, Mrs. Cindy Wade, the head surgical nurse, Jess Pinkham, and a surgeon, Dr. Manila. We would like to thank them for their time. We also got to tour the operating room and see how that functions. Let's take a few minutes to talk to them. This is the sterilization room for the surgical instruments and the washers for cleaning the instruments. We saw 3 out of the 4 operating rooms, and it was interesting.
Hello, today I'm here with Jess Pinkham, head surgical nurse at Lincoln Health. Hello.
Hi.
Why did you want to be a surgical nurse?
I think I became a nurse in 2001. I graduated with my bachelor's at the University of New England, and I knew I floated for different areas for a couple years, and then I found my niche working in the operating room in 2006, and I've been here ever since. I did take a 4-year hiatus working with our electronic medical record for the providers. And then this position, Director of Surgical Services, came up. I applied, and here I am. So I absolutely love being in the operating room.
And why did you apply for your job?
I had the opportunity to apply for this position just because the previous director was retiring, and working here since 2011 in the operating room, I knew that what I could create here for Lincoln Hospital, and I just applied, got the position, and grew the position, and here we are years later with making a difference.
And did anyone encourage you to apply for this job, or did you decide on your own?
I think both. I think I had, through my peers and leadership, they kind of pushed me forward to apply, but I knew in my heart that this is where I needed to be.
Yeah. And how many hours long is your job on a typical day?
Oh, it ranges, but on average it's probably 9-10 hour day.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what do you do in your job?
Well, I run the operating room. Not only the operating room, I do like what you saw earlier with the cleaning of the scopes, a sterile processing department, and the day surgery unit. I make sure we're following all the regulations, scheduling patients, and just making sure the day runs smoothly. But there are a lot of meetings, so there's a lot of time, like Cindy was stating earlier, that there's a lot of screen time on Zoom calls, and it gets labor intensive just sitting there because I'm a doer. It's hard for me to sit all day.
And what's the hardest part of your job?
I would say the hardest part of the job is making sure that we're doing everything we can to take care of our patients. We have to be hyper vigilant and focused on following all the regulations and having forward thought of what ifs, or if you're thinking, especially if you're bringing on a new service line, like say if we're bringing on another surgeon, we want to ensure that we have everything that they possibly could need in order to take care of their patients.
Yeah. And what's your favorite part about your job?
Taking care of patients. I love it.
And how many surgeons work at this hospital?
We have 7 full-time surgeons at Lincoln Hospital, and we have 2 outside providers that come in and use our operating room. But we are collaborating as the coastal region. We're working with Midcoast Hospital, and we're actually going to be bringing some of their surgeons to us to take care of their patients because we actually have operating room time available.
Cool. And what type of surgeries have you been part of?
Throughout my career, I've been seen open heart surgery. I was circulator for open heart surgery at a local facility in another town. I've seen lots of surgeries, trauma, seen many babies being born, total joints, total knee replacements, shoulder replacements. We do a lot of orthopedics here.
And how do you make sure that the surgeries are safe?
We follow regulations. We follow the standard, and at times we'll have surveys come in through CMS. Will come in. We're actually waiting to be surveyed, so our window's been open for quite a few years. But we just ensure that we're following all the regulations and the standards.
And what kind of surgeries happen at Lincoln Health?
We do, like I said, we do cesarean sections, total joints. We do a lot of cataract surgeries. We do colonoscopies, we do general surgery. We're actually going to be bringing urology back next year, so that will be fun and new for Lincoln Hospital because that's a service line that's definitely needed in our community. So.
And what tools do you use for surgery?
Oh, we use lots of tools. You saw some of the tools earlier. We have laparoscopic towers that we hook up equipment to so we can look inside bellies. We can look inside knees. We can look inside shoulders through a camera that we insert into a person's body. We do eye surgery on a 65-inch 3D TV. So we have lots of equipment for everything that we do here.
And what's the most common reason people come to get surgery?
Because of the patient experience. We provide excellent patient experience. We go above and beyond to ensure that our patients have a pleasant, positive experience. And that's from the second you walk into Watson to the second you're leaving the building.
And what's the most difficult surgery that someone came in for?
I would say a car accident probably. Where someone had ruptured their spleen and we had to do an emergency splenectomy to remove their spleen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm here at Lincoln Hospital with Dr. Manella.
Hi, how you doing?
And I'm Ariella Ricoats reporting for the South Bristol School. Why did you want to be a doctor?
I had a friend whose father was a general surgeon, so I kind of got some peripheral experience to seeing what that was like a little bit. And I was very interested in mechanical things, so I was thinking about, going into fixing cars, that sort of thing. And I did well in school, so I kind of migrated towards fixing people, and it's kind of mechanic for people.
Yeah.
So it was a good fit. Now I fix cars too.
Do you like your job?
Yes, very much so. Time stressful, a lot of sleepless nights, but other than that, it's excellent. In general, surgery make people better pretty quick, and so it's satisfying to see that happen.
What's your favorite part about your job?
I think probably interacting with patients I've had for years and doing surgery because it's fun.
Is it ever scary?
Yes, there are moments of terror. Yeah, when things don't go well or there's complications, it can be very, very scary. But you got to keep your head and fix the problem. So you learn how to do that after years of doing the training.
Yeah. How long are your shifts?
My shifts aren't bad unless I get called in. I cover call at night. So if you have to come back in, they can sometimes be long. But in general, I'd say they're like 8 hours.
Yeah. How many years of school did you have to go through to get here?
So there's, high school, 4 years of college, 4 years of med school, and then I did 6.5 years of residency working in a hospital. Yeah, so it was like, what is that? 8 plus 6 would, whatever that comes out to. I'm not good at math. 14, yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of years. Was someone you knew growing up a doctor?
Yeah, the person I mentioned, one of my best friend from Rhode Island, his father was a general surgeon at Rhode Island Hospital for years. So we used to round with him and stuff, and I kind of got some exposure and started thinking about maybe this would be a good fit.
Do you ever work with children?
Occasionally. We don't do a lot of pediatrics, but if somebody comes in with like appendicitis or some problems that we can actually work on here, we do. That would be the most common would be appendicitis for when we work on kids.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
No problem.
And thanks for watching the South Bristol Scoop.
Hello, my name is Edith Jonathan, reporting for the South Bristol Scoop live at Lincoln Hospital. Today I'm here with Cindy Wade, the president of the hospital. How many years of school did you have to go through to get here?
Well, I went to 4 years of school and got my bachelor's of science in nursing. So I'm a nursing by background. And then throughout my career, I went back to school and got my master's degree, which took me a couple years because I was working and raising a family. But it took me a couple years, but it's my master's degree in healthcare administration. So probably 6.
How long did it take you to become the president?
Well, I've worked here for 30 years. I know. So 30 years, but I've been in this role for 4, and I've done many, many different roles here over the years to get to this position.
What do you do in your job?
Well, I do things like this. I get to talk to community members, and I get to work with all the great people that work here, like the people you've been chatting with here in the operating room and surgical services. I go to a lot of meetings, and we look at how do we provide access to care here locally in Lincoln County as close to home as possible, and we want to make sure that we're providing high quality and safe care. So that's my role. What I do all day long is working with the team to make sure we're doing that.
Do you like your job?
I love my job. Love my job.
What's your favorite part about your job?
Things like this, because we get to talk to people that are interested in what's going on here at Lincoln Hospital. And my favorite part of the job is being able to be out and about, talking to care team members, making sure they have what they need to do the job they're doing, because their jobs are so very important to take care of our community and our patients and our residents. And then I like to go out in the community and spend time talking to community members, so people that own businesses or people that are in government, to make sure they understand what we're doing here and how we're trying to provide care and how can we partner together to make sure that we're providing the best care possible, because our vision here at Maine Health is working together so our communities are the healthiest in America. So that means a lot of partnering with other people.
If there was anything you could change about your job, what would it be?
not so many hours of the day in meetings. I think that is probably the hardest part, because I like to get out and about and see people and talk to people that are doing the caring of the patients. And so when I'm in a lot of meetings, and today we do a lot of meetings on the video screens, that's not my favorite part, although it's all part of the job, so it's important. But I guess that's probably my least favorite, is especially sitting in front of a video screen doing things like Zoom meetings or Teams meetings.
Why did you decide to take this job?
Because I love this community. I'm very passionate about providing care here in this community and having access to care for our patients and our residents. And I'm part of the community, right? I grew up here. I went to high school. I went to all my school here in Lincoln County, went to Lincoln Academy. And so it's very near and dear to my heart that we have great care here locally. And so that's why I like working here.
Do you have any personal connection to the hospital?
Wow, personal connection. I think it's probably the 30 years that I've worked here. But before that, I had to be a patient here when I was in college. I got really sick and I came home and I spent a week here. I was very sick. So I'm connected that way. And my family and friends, I've had babies here, and my family and friends all come here for their care. So I think that's how I'm connected personally. Great point. There was a question from the audience about, do I have a son that works here? I actually have several sons that have worked here. I have one that works here in the OR. He's probably in the total joint right now that's going on. But he works as a surgical technologist, and he absolutely loves his job. And then I have my middle son that works over in Schooner Cove, which is an independent living facility. He's the chef there, or one of the chefs there. And my youngest son worked here for a while, but now he works up at Riverview, which is the psychiatric inpatient facility, and he's a nurse there. So yeah, very connected that way. And I have lots of family that also works here.
Do you have a lunch break?
Well, not really. So typically, I talked about meetings. Typically, I'm eating my lunch in a meeting, during a meeting, except for when I have to talk. I can't chew and talk at the same time, but that's kind of how my day goes. So I pack my lunch and I carry it wherever I'm going so that I have it with me, so when I get hungry I can eat. But so not really, but I try to make sure people do get their lunch breaks because they're super important.
Do you have a secretary or a vice president?
I have an executive administrative assistant, Lori Morrison, who is absolutely amazing. And she helps me every single day with all kinds of projects and keeping my head straight and making sure I'm where I'm supposed to be when I'm supposed to be. And then there's several vice presidents that work here in different roles that I work with every single day.
If there was anything you could change about your office, what would it be?
I love my office. Right now, I can't use my office because we're doing construction upstairs on the 3rd floor, and we can't get to our office spaces right now. So it's kind of been a good, bad situation because I've had to be sort of a vagabond going to different offices that are available, but it's allowed me to get out and see people that I don't see every day because I'm in their space using one of their offices. But my office is really cool. I'd love to invite you back to come see my office sometime. I get to see when the helicopters land out front, and I can see the people coming and going up the causeway, and I can see the ambulances outside the ED. So it's a pretty cool office with lots of windows.
Do you have any other jobs?
Well, I guess if you count that I'm a mom and I'm a grandmother and I do a lot of volunteering in the community, I consider those jobs. But this is my primary job and I'm very passionate. Oh, I'm a wife too. I shouldn't forget that. And I have lots of pets. So, yes.
What kind of pets?
I have 3 dogs. I have a pug. I have a white golden retriever, and I have an Australian shepherd. And then we have a cat. Mm-hmm.
Thanks for joining me on the South Bristol Scoop.
Thank you, Edith, for interviewing me.
And now news from the rest of the world with John.
There's a volcano that is just waiting to erupt. The volcano is a geological hotspot. Hotspot volcanoes are common under the ocean floor. The thing about this volcano is that it is between 2 massive tectonic plates that are slowly spreading apart and creating a gaping hole for magma to explode out. And now for some local sports with Aria.
In local sports, the Bristol and South Bristol girls softball team played Nobleboro and lost. Their score is 2 wins and 3 losses. The Bristol and South Bristol boys middle school team also played on Monday against Nobleboro and lost as well. Their record is 2 wins and 3 losses. As the SBS Adventure Club recently hosted an afternoon of youth fishing at the Thompson Ice House Pond in South Bristol. 5 middle schoolers came out for the event. The SBS Adventure Club is also planning one last trip for the year, 2 nights at Acadia National Park, where the middle schoolers in the club will hike, camp, and enjoy the outdoors. And now Lincoln Academy Sports with John.
For baseball, the boys lost to the Levette Bumblebees 2-0.
John, I think it's the Levette Hornets.
Oh. The boys Lincoln Academy lacrosse team lost to Erskine Academy. The girls Lincoln Academy lacrosse team beat Tolton 10-9 for their first win yet this season. Later in the week, they lost 14-2 to Oak Hill. Now for some track and field. For boys, for the meet, the boys finished 3rd place out of 5 teams. Oliver Jonathan, Joseph Levesque, Calvin Wicks got 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place in the boys' 300-meter hurdles. For the meet, the girls finished 4th place out of 5 teams. Dylan Burmeister got 2nd place in the girls' 1,600-meter run. She also came in 1st for the girls' 800-meter run. Go Dylan! Dylan Burmeister, Chloe Anderson, Delia Saft, and Maggie Thompson came in 1st place for the girls' 4x400-meter relay.
Let's pause for a moment before we move on to New England sports. We'd like to sincerely thank the sponsors of our program. Many thanks to the First National Bank, to the Coastal Locker Room, and the Rotary Legs Club. We couldn't do this without you, and we appreciate all your help. And now, New England sports with John.
The Boston Celtics are in the NBA playoffs as the number 2 seed in the East. In the second round, they've been playing the New York Knicks in both of the first 2 games. The Knicks came back from 20-point second-half deficits to steal both games. The Celtics finally had a lead in the 3rd game and won, but in Game 4, the Knicks won again. The Knicks lead the series 3-1 and only need one more win to advance. The Celtics star Jason Tatum got badly hurt near the end of the game. The Boston Red Sox are playing average baseball to this point in the season. They lost Christian Casas to injury for the rest of the season. The Sox record stands at 22-21. The Red Sox have been playing the Detroit Tigers and are playing the Atlanta Braves this weekend. Now for some Down at the Wharf with Aria.
This is the most recent information from Ozier's Wharf, a longtime South Bristol establishment. Lobster prices. Soft-shell lobster can be purchased for $7.99 per pound, and hard-shell lobster is $8.99 per pound. Herring and pogies are $2.65 per pound, and monkfish are $3.65 per pound. And from the South Bristol Fishermen's Co-op found in 1972, soft-shell lobster is $10.99 per pound, and hard-shell is $11.99 per pound. For bait, a box of pogies is $240 per barrel, and salted herring is $250 per barrel. The co-op also sells fresh fish. Stop in or call for prices. And here's your three-day weather forecast with John.
For weather, the weather pattern will be very rainy this week. On Saturday, it will have a high of 53 and a low of 48, and a 50% chance of rain. On Sunday, it will have a high of 55, a low of 47, and a 45% chance of rain. And on Monday, it will have a high of 58, a low of 49, and a 45% chance of rain. And here's your 3-day tide forecast. Pay attention to low tides if you want to get out there on the clam flats. The tide forecast for Saturday, May 17th. High tide will be at 2:27 a.m. and 3:15 p.m. Low tide will be at 9 a.m. and 9:04 p.m. Sunday, May 18th. High tide will be at 3:12 a.m. and 4:02 p.m. Low tide will be at 9:46 a.m. at 9:54 p.m. And Monday, May 19th, high tide will be at 4:02 a.m. and 4:53 p.m. and low tide will be at 10:35 a.m. and 10:49 p.m. And here's this week's joke. Why was the laptop late to school?
I don't know, why?
Because it had a hard drive. We're glad you joined us this week to get the latest on local, county, and national news.
Thanks for watching the South Bristol Scoop.